Or two.
Guys, welcome, Black Scout Survival. So it's been like a month. Donald Trump was about to be assassinated. And now we have the Secret Service walking off the job and breastfeeding. Check this out.
Service detail that's guarding former President Donald Trump. So this coming from Real Clear Politics, reporting that a female Secret Service agent abandoned her post in North Carolina to breastfeed her baby during Trump's visit yesterday to the Tar Heel state. The report says about 5 minutes before Trump's motorcade arrived, the site agent who manages security for the entire event did a final sweep of the location.
And while walking the route, the site agent reportedly found the Secret Service special agent in question breastfeeding with two other family members present in a room that's supposed to be set aside for official business like an emergency involving the president. The report says the
Okay, so hold on. Secret Service agent, obviously they increased the amount of females in the Secret Service as part of the DEI initiative with the Secret Service. And she's in a secure room with people without clearances breastfeeding. Who takes their kid to work? Who does that? Brings family members into unauthorized locations. DEI. Anyway, let's keep listening.
Agent did not have permission to leave her post and gave no warning prior to the event that she needed personal time. Working Secret Service agents are prohibited from bringing children or any family members, for that matter, on a protective assignment.
All right, still working on clarification and details on this, that coming from the reporter for RCP. And it comes about a month after what many consider to be the biggest Secret Service failure in recent American history, the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. For details.
And continues to fail. Like, it's almost like they want something to happen to the man, right? They keep making, I mean, you wake up in the morning and think the country it was bad yesterday, like the news you heard, and every day it gets worse. Like stranger than fiction.
National correspondent Alana Austin just got a response from the Secret Service spokesman on this. She joins us live from Capitol Hill with this story. Alana.
Hi, good morning, Sean and Emma. And certainly, as you mentioned there, we're really just weeks out from the attempted assassination on the former president. And we heard from a whistleblower, if you will, a counter sniper saying he was worried there could be another attack imminently as all of these campaign events, the calendar intensifies here leading up to the November elections. And here's the response I just received from the U.S. Secret Service spokesperson. It is saying all employees of the U.S. Secret Service are held to the highest standards. While there was no impact to the North Carolina event, the specifics of this incident are being examined. Given this is a personnel matter, we are not in a position to comment further. So
real quick, you see this, they put this clip up, and this is not related at all to what she's talking about. This must have been a mistake, but look at what that says. Backdrop of an alarming pattern of speech suppression and censorship peddled through tech and social media companies. That is happening. It's happening big time, and it's only going to get worse coming into the election.
There were many alarming details of this report that first broke from Real Clear Politics about the family members on site. Of course, just minutes before this event is really supposed to get underway, a Secret Service agent apparently breaking numerous policies and protocols. I've asked the U.S. Secret Service if they could clarify whether all the details of this report are accurate, and at this point in time, we are waiting for further clarification.
So yeah, someone said up here, I see this kind of stuff all the time. All we hear is talk, bitching, and complaining. Nothing is being done. Well, do something, Shadow Watcher. Why are you asking? Do something, buddy. Who you waiting on? You're sitting here just listening. You're not even complaining. You're cool with it. You know, you rather somebody else take out the trash for you. I don't. What am I going to do to go? Are you going to go do to change the Secret Service? This is well beyond your scope of changing something, right? The thing is a lot of these things that we see is a downstroke of what's been going on for freaking 60, 70 years. You're just seeing the culminating effect. Our great-great-grandparents should have been doing something, right? But anyway, breastfeeding on the job, new one, incredible. Anyway, let's talk about some serious stuff here. Remember the Joe Biden's chaotic withdrawal that left billions of dollars in taxpayer weaponry to the Taliban? One who was ultimately behind that, because it wasn't Joe Biden, because we know he hasn't been coherent in a very long time, right? Well, the Taliban held a military parade, as you see here, and this is at Bagram Air Base. This is the third anniversary of what they're calling the conquest of Kabul. And it consisted of vehicles and equipment used by Afghan forces, left by American forces during the withdrawal, paid for with your taxpayer money. And just take a look. Look at this stuff. Absolutely incredible. Now, some of it's Soviet equipment, but there's a lot of U.S. military equipment. I'm going to kind of talk about some of those things. Soviet era, U.S.-made military equipment, the Taliban seized after the U.S. withdrawal. Apparently, there was about 10,000 men in this parade, and including some what they're calling foreign diplomats. I would love to know who that is. I mean, look at this, dude. They're flying freaking rotary wing and fixed wing. Taliban. Taliban gave America hell with leather sandals and robes on. Look at them now. Look at them. The good old USA just left behind a mind-boggling amount of military gear. And we're talking anywhere from 22,000 Humvees, 1,000 armored vehicles or more, 65,000 machine guns, apparently, and 50,000 pickups, SUVs. And they left a whole heap of weapons behind too. We're talking more than 350,000 rifles, 126,000 pistols, and this is just what they think they left behind. Could be way more than that. But let me just keep playing that while I'm telling you this. We're not even talking about artillery. And if you want to go through the vehicles that you see in this video, you got Humvees, you got MRAPs, they got APCs, ASVs, Guardians, Navistar 7000 series trucks. Not pictured here is Blackhawks, but they do have them. If you recall, during the withdrawal in the beginning, they were trying to attempt to fly the Blackhawks. Then MD-530 light attack helicopters, Mi-24 attack helicopters, and Mi-17 attack helicopters. So a lot of military gear. And we're not even talking about armor like plate carriers, mags, night vision, because they did get night vision. Like if you look at some of the photos, I mean, they've got, check this out, but they've got night vision, helmets, ACOGs. I mean, they could have brought this back and gave it to American citizens, but no, they'd rather arm the Taliban. Meanwhile, they're trying to take your firearms away. But these guys are fully kitted out. I remember watching, I think it was Vice News, that was with the Zero Unit. The Zero Unit are the most highly trained commandos within Afghanistan, trained by the CIA. And these guys, very highly trained, they were brought here to the U.S. They had the most expensive gear and very, very solid group of guys. And I saw in one village they were massacred. They were trying to protect it. And the commander wound up saying, let's just surrender. And then the Taliban massacred them. But at the last minute, the vice reporter that was with them, Washington flew in a plane and flew them. Someone's asking who's flying the choppers, Taliban is. So they apparently learned how to do it. Then they told the guys to drop all their gear. So they put all their rifles, nods, all that stuff on the ground, get on the plane, and they left, and they took them somewhere else in Europe. But, and I don't really recall where, but Russia then in turn has now hired these commandos, very highly trained guys. Like they received some of our best training. And 3 former Afghan generals told the Associated Press that these former elite Afghan commandos were paid by Russia. You know, they've got thousands of them apparently, to join what they're calling Russia's Foreign Legion. They're getting paid $15,000 a month salary. They're being promised safe haven for themselves and their families so they can avoid A, deportation, or B, certain death by the hands of Taliban, right? So they would definitely, if the Taliban found them, they would definitely take out them and their whole family. It's just what would happen to them. So them going to Russia, you can't really freaking blame them. You know, America should have took care of these guys, should have brought that equipment home. The whole Biden wanted to get out so quick, got Marines killed, and the admin said it's because it would have cost more to get the equipment back than to just leave it there. I would have rather paid the extra money to get it back than to leave it into the hands of our enemies. Not only that, but we're paying them some kind of stipend as well. Billions of dollars to the Taliban. Taxpayer money. We completely armed these people. A terrorist group. It's crazy. It's crazy. This administration believes in America last. Make no mistake. I don't care who you don't like or what you don't like mean tweets. These people are freaking evil. Evil. And if it wasn't bad enough, the Taliban essentially bragging about all the gifts they got from us during the disastrous withdrawal, we learned yesterday that our private Social Security information has been stolen. Yeah. Every American's Social Security number may have been stolen in a new hack. 2.7 billion records, allegedly, from a hacking group called USDOD. And they've stolen all these Americans' personal information. But Kamala and Joe are leading us straight into the collapse. And I see the campaign stuff where Kamala says, you give me a chance and I'll make them. What have you been doing? Nobody's even heard from you. Nobody's even heard from you. Do you want to hear more about how our tax dollars are going to waste? Let me tell you. We have taxpayer money, $450 billion per year to be exact, to house and care for illegal migrants. That's what America last looks like. We have homeless. We have veterans that are homeless. We have Americans struggling to survive, and they're giving this money to people that were not born in this country. And just kind of look at this chart here, just the equipment. Look at this freaking equipment. Machine guns, rifles, rotary and fixed wing aircraft, billions. Absolutely incredible. And a lot of people think coming in November we're going to be okay. I don't really see that. And they're suppressing the hell out of my video since the other day, 2 days ago, man. 2 days ago, like if they're doing whatever they can do to win. And suppression, like that graph that was behind that lady talking, they're suppressing content tremendously. Like my video got a record low views from 2 days ago. It was a great video, great information on there. And then today there's hardly anybody watching. And I never do a live this early. So I know a lot of people can't make the late night lives. And man, I get triple these numbers at nighttime viewers. So this is early enough for everybody to make it. And so they're obviously suppressing, they're not notifying people. But if you look at the AI, all the different things, they're in bed with big tech. They're going to do whatever. They're saying they're not going to deport migrants. There's some places they're saying they're going to allow migrants to vote, right? And they're trying to say that's a conspiracy. That's not as true. And then you have various influencers that are jumping and going anti-Trump. I don't care if you like Trump or think he's a good man. The thing is, you can't vote Kamala. You can't do that, right? Someone says AIPAC ends either way. I agree. AIPAC does in every way. And when people say this, they also fall, when they say this, they also fall for the psyop that you can do nothing about it. If you don't know this, AIPAC's been in charge of America for 80 years. 80 years. And they heavily fund politicians on both sides, right? And so the thing is they have right and left, right? Democrats and Republicans on payroll. But would you rather have the enemy you know than the enemy you don't? I say that all the time. When Donald Trump was president, life was a lot better for every individual American, right? Under Obama, not good. Under Joe Biden, horrible. Worst president in history. Worse than Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter before was ranked the worst president in history. Joe Biden, 100% worst president in history. And then you boil down to Kamala wins, firearms are gone. And that's the only thing that separates us from every other country in the world. It's the only thing. Free speech is powerful. The forefathers went after that first. That was their first thing, number one. But during that time, it's because their speech was being suppressed. If you see my Stamp Act shirt that we sell sometimes, we're not in stock now. But if you go research that, essentially it was an underground press, like basically like underground social media to spread information. That's what this stuff was. Tyranny has been happening for a long time. And it doesn't look like tyranny until now because we have the culmination of 70, 80 years of it happening, right? But then someone said, here's a great point. You can't vote your way out of tyranny. You cannot. But a lot of the silent majority have been too silent, too lazy, not getting involved, not doing anything. I didn't see the Democrats go out in the streets with rifles and take over the country. They didn't do that. They just weren't lazy. They weren't silent. They were very loud. That's what always gets me why people attack conservative influencers. Conservative influencers are trying to do the same thing, trying to be loud, trying to be vocal, because that's how they took over. Believe it or not, that's how they took over. I didn't see them storming anything. Just that silent majority are too silent. Too scared to say something, too scared to lose a friend, a family member, too scared to lose a job. They won't do anything. But just quit believing the psyops, because even the stuff that seems like it's not the psyop is probably the freaking psyop. It's the propaganda. It's how it is. But again, going back to looking to where this country is headed right now, and we have RFK Jr., one of the biggest propaganda pieces, willing to drop out to exchange for a cabinet position for who, though? Guess who? Kamala Harris. Apparently, he had a meeting with Kamala Harris to discuss the possibility of joining her administration as a cabinet secretary and to endorse her campaign. So to throw all his votes in her direction. Him staying in without a fighting chance other than split votes was enough to know something was going on. And a lot of people ask me, why don't, there's a lot of things that RFK Jr. says that a lot of us can agree on. However, he's willing to talk about an assault weapons ban. That's dead deal. Dead deal. No chance. No chance. Anyone talking about or considering that, done in my book. because it is literally the only thing that separates us. And I'm not going to go into the details why, because I don't want to get kicked off the internet. But there's a huge reason why that is. And if I ever see you in person, you can ask me. And it goes back to all these people saying all these different things about tyranny or what can you do, or we're just talking. Well, there is something within that, these millions of Americans that can defend themselves. There's something, a big picture to that, maybe a lot of people don't see. And I realize that because having a YouTube channel over 12 years, what I do see is most Americans have to be spoon-fed because they only think one thing, or they only think what they read. Someone asked me today, they sent me an email and asked me, do I watch such and such channel or podcast or whatever? And I told them no. I watch literally no one. I don't. Just for you to know this, and I've said this numerous times in the past, but maybe it's a new subscriber. I watch no one. And when you send me someone's stuff, I'm not going to watch it. The reason why is because whenever I talk on YouTube, and I got this from Nothing Fancy. I don't know if you know this guy. He's a survival gear reviewer guy, Air Force pilot. Back in the day, he was real popular. I think he's dying off with views. But what he said one time in an interview is he said he watches no one because he doesn't want anyone to influence his mind. And I've been doing that ever since because I want to give you, because I have a platform, I have a YouTube channel that people watch. I want to give you an unbiased, unadulterated commentary of what I think from what I see is happening. Because most of the influencers, content creators, YouTubers, Instagram, whatever, they're just repeating things they heard from somewhere else. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be influenced at all. Not that I think these people are bad. I just don't want to be influenced. I want to give you exactly, because if I'm just going to watch someone else and repeat what they say, then what's the purpose of listening to me? I want to give you from a guy, an old man, kind of old man, with my wisdom, my experience, if you call it wisdom. I'm kind of dumb. But you get a dumb guy's perspective and see what I say. And you can base it off what other people say. You don't even have to believe or agree with anything I say. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm not trying to convince you to believe what I believe. A lot of times in America, what I notice is that most people want to convince other people to believe what they believe. I don't want to convince you of that. I just want to show you what I see when I see evil, when I see nonsense, and I want to share what I think about something, right? And if that influences you or it doesn't matter. You're just hearing someone's opinion about something. That's another thing someone commented to me, because I always say when something's an opinion versus a fact, a lot of people don't do that. They say something like it's a fact, their opinion. I always make sure that I tell you, you hear me say this theory, opinion, this is what I think, because I'm letting you know what I think. Because also, why are you watching me if you just want to hear me talk about something you can watch on the freaking nightly news? I think a lot of people need to get back to thinking for themselves. Listen to everybody, but think for yourself. You know what I mean? I see a lot of folks that they will get very manipulated by a certain thing, and they totally go down that rabbit hole and they're stuck there. And that doesn't help anybody, right? That doesn't help anybody. That's not going to help the situation. It's not going to help your community. It's not going to change the course of our country. If you get so deep in a rabbit hole of something, so focused on one thing, there's so many things going on. That's another reason why I always complain about the gun tubers, because they only talk about the Second Amendment. Man, I know Democrats that are pro-gun. However, I don't agree with anything else they say. And to me, a lot of what they say will lead to the destruction of this country. So it ain't just 2A. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. It's about the future of our civilization. And I think a lot of people right now, like I've said 100,000 times, are in the slow bowl. They think everything's okay. They're not seeing the big picture. The other benefit of what I do is I'm always diving into information. So that way, one, you don't have to look for it. I look for it for you. But it's probably bad because I see everything all day. I spend tons of hours looking at this stuff. And that is, you're going to see the big picture. Someone said they know I'm a Fed, right? Because years ago I did a show to take down a militia. That's actually not true. I'm not a Fed, number one. I'm a freaking gangster, number one. Number two, the show, you can go watch the freaking, the intro, the trailer called Militia Undercover. And the premise of the show, and the militia knew what was going on. It's not like they didn't know. You can't, they've got a camera crew around them. But the thing is the show is I would infiltrate a militia and then pick the best guys and train them for my own group for the apocalypse. Even the trailer says that. So good try though, buddy. Good try. Good try. You can go watch the trailer. Just type in Black Scout Survival Militia Undercover and see it. It's in my younger days. I was terrible on camera then. But anyway, the show got canceled due to some legal stuff with the production company and what have you. It was supposed to be, I think, on History Channel. But anyway, it was early on in my days. I was actually very excited about it because I was like, dang, man, I ain't even been on YouTube for like a year and I'm already getting a TV show. You know, the problem with that TV show, though, and this is just extra information for you. The problem with the TV show is I had to go and get in a contract. And the contract kept me from making other films. I actually got an offer for a very popular TV show. And I wanted to do it because it would have probably changed the course of my life forever. But because I was in the contract and they would not let me out because of the legal issues that were happening with this production company, I was not able to take that role. But it is upsetting, but I guess, it's probably a good thing. I believe the Lord puts us where he wants us to be, because I probably wouldn't be talking to you right now if I had got this show. It would have changed the complete course of my life. And so anyway, everything happens for a reason. God's in control. And so that's why I'm here. So I guess it's good. Is the TV show on YouTube? No. They never released any episodes. You can only watch the trailer. And actually, they tried to shut me down from from even showing the trailer. I got the trailer years later, but because the production company owned that, they tried to shut that down. However, they dissolved. They don't exist anymore. So I put it back up. But it's funny. I look very corny. I still look corny, but I look more corny in that. But go watch it. It's funny. Anyway, guys, I do appreciate you hanging out with me. And thanks for tuning in. Make sure you comment, share the video. Please watch it and let everyone know to watch it, because they're suppressing us. They're suppressing our voices. And we have to be the louder group of people, guys. We have to be loud. Have to be loud. Let people know where you stand. The left does it all the time, and that's why they're winning. And stop attacking each other, right? You can't win that way. The left doesn't do it. I actually saw a comment today where a group of leftists, one of them said something about another one. They said, hey, no, stop that. We don't talk about each other. And I'm like, those guys are locked in. They're locked in. I wish the conservatives would take lessons from them. I wish they would, because those boys and girls are locked in to win, right? Because they don't play. They are united. They're loud. They don't sleep, right? And while you're sleeping, your enemy's out there training, working. So that's why we have to stay vigilant, guys. Stay vigilant. Anyway, guys, remember to stay frosty, stay strapped, and always stay dangerous. Take care.